This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC 303. I'm going to give you guys my lock of the week, most confident picks, favorite underdogs. We'll talk Degen Props of the night and then finish it out with a loaded parlay section. So make sure you guys smash the likes. If you're new, subscribe, turn the post notifications on. Make sure you share the video as well. Let's talk about last week because things were tremendous. Kelvin Gastelum came through as the lock. I swept the most confident picks, which is something I feel real good about. And the biggest winning underdog on the card, Alexander Volkov, was also called by yours truly. So I'm very happy with the performance. I think things are moving in the right direction. And I'm really excited to keep the streak going with the locks and hit it this week. So without further ado, the lock of the week.
Here is Joe Buddy Bags Piper!
Joe Pyfer, lock of the week. I see him beating Marc-Andre Barriault. I think this is a great stylistic matchup for him. Yeah, they rushed him up a little bit to fight Jack Hermanson. He was a little too young for the Jack Hermanson fight at just 27 years of age, but let's not act like he didn't do well in the early portion of the fight. If that's a 3-round fight, maybe Pyfer's getting it on the scorecards and he's still being talked about as one of the hottest prospect contenders on the come-up right now. And Barriault's now going to send them back? He's going to send them packing? Marc-Andre Barriault's a good scrapper, but he doesn't have the same precision, explosiveness, athleticism, punching power, grappling skill, or overall game that Joe Pyfer has. I see Joe Pyfer being able to touch Marc-Andre Barriault with really good punches. And if they tie up, I see Pyfer having advantages in the grappling. Now, not thinking Pyfer is going to go out, smother him, take him down, and just beat him up from top. But if they did hit the mat, I'm confident in Joe Pyfer's overall game. Now, he's a bit of a chalky favorite. He's a chalky locky, but he's a good parlay piece. Minus 270, Joe Pyfer. The knockout is plus 200. I think that's slightly on the riskier side. Over 1.5 at minus 190. Can I tell you why it's on the riskier side? Even though I think the knockout is live. Marc-Andre Barriault has been knocked out once as a pro. Chidi Njokuani caught him cold in the first 16 seconds of their fight. The odds of that happening the second time, not huge. But I do think Pyfer could get a KO. The over 1.5 is minus 190. I could see Pyfer being calculated, picking his shots, and getting it done in the later stages of the fight. I don't think that's horrible. But the lock is the straight money line down the center. And parlaying that up with something can really give you a good play. We'll talk parlays at the end, and you're definitely going to see Joe Pyfer's name. But I feel real excited about this week's lock. I see it coming to fruition, and I think it can make some magical things happen if you're looking for some safer parlays to play. So Joe Pyfer, minus 270. The chalky locky, but a sure winner, gonna pull through and touch up Marc-Andre Barriault. His boxing is crisper, his precision is better, his grappling skill set is there. Barriault flurries shots, sure, and he can mix it up on the inside. He's nasty in the clinch, but Pyfer's just not gonna stand there and let him elbow him in the face. You look even at Barriault's win over Marquez. He was getting touched up in the first round. Can you imagine Pyfer lands those clean shots in the first round? Barriault's not gonna eat him. That's why Pyfer is this week's lock, and I'm excited as hell to watch him catch a W. Let's jump to the next section. Let's talk about the most confident picks. I will bring them on the screen. We got 3 of them here, and it's because I got the most valuable money line in the next section. Peyton Talbot, who is chalky as hell, but he's a lock, bro. Minus 1,800. He's not going to lose to Giannis Gamori, the creepy French dude. Come on. Come on now. You know he's an absolute lock. He's going to style on him. Peyton Talbot's one of the best striking prospects in the game right now. He should be on the main card. I did a video yesterday, a worst case scenario, UFC 303, and a big gripe in that video is the fact that he's not on the main card. They got to give him the Bo Nickel treatment. Now, knockout, minus 245. I think he's knocking out Giannis Gamori. Second round knockouts, very live. Under 1.5, plus 160. I'll say it can hit. Both, not really, I don't know. The Talbot KO is not as risky. The under 1.5 is a little scarier because Talbot could stop him later. Now, I don't have in front of you the round props written down, but I will quickly glance upon what we have for a Talbot first and second round knockout. First round, you're not getting much. It's only plus 125. Second is plus 300. And if you got it done late, third round, plus 500. I think Talbot's live to knock him out throughout. Yes, minus 245 is chalky, but the KO is definitely there for the taking because I think Gamori's a little too flat for him. The way he stands, a little bit upright, doesn't really close the gap that well, seems to lack explosiveness. Kind of an outside point fighter taking on a guy who can point fight, but has thudding knockout power and good pressure and clean straight shots. He's not sloppy. Peyton Talbot special, and he's pulling through. Talbot, he's an absolute lock. Next one, Saruya, minus 500. Again, chalky line. I looked for every reason possible to pick Hernandez to beat him, but I don't think he's going to be the guy that gives Saruya his first L. Now, there are comparisons between a former opponent of Saruya, Climaco, who actually went distance with him and gave him a hard fight, to Hernandez. But still, we have a better Saruya now. We've seen Hernandez struggle on the ground in the past against some of the better grapplers in the game. Submission loss to Nascimento. He actually got knocked out by Tatsuru Taira, but he was getting bodied on the ground a bit too. I think that Saruya plus 165 by sub, it's a little risky though, but I think it is live to hit. Now, submission in the first round, because Saruya is good at finishing guys in round one, is live too at plus 400. He does have ground and pound stoppages, so maybe you're not crazy for touching inside distance instead. But if you really respect Hernandez on the other side, you could be tempted to even go decision. But I do think Saruya finds a finish here. Saruya's minus 215 for inside distance. There's nothing good about that. Saruya money line, it's a parlay only. Minus 500, but I see minus 450. It varies around the minus 500, minus 450 mark. He's a wide favorite, but he's still, in a sense, parlayable to get you to even money with some high confidence picks put together. And I think Saruya's pulling through. The next one, Alex Pereira, you see him here. He's a valuable line too. He could be a most valuable money line. Minus 130, and he already has a win over Yuri Prochazka. And what have I seen from Prochazka that tells me it's going to go different than last time? He was getting touched up from the outside by Alexander Rakic. Pereira's going to find those legs. And actually, it's interesting. Prochazka has like a big bruise on his leg right now, or at least like a big welt on his leg. Seems like he's been doing a ton of checking of kicks throughout the whole camp, which is smart. But I still think he won't be prepared for Pereira's kicking game. Prochazka is going to get chopped up, and he's going to get caught with a big shot and knocked out once again. KO is minus 120. The under 3.5, minus 275. I love the under 3.5. It's something that you could even parlay up to, but not every book is going to have it available. But if you do have it, I think it's quality. Pereira by KO Pereira by KO is only minus 120. The money line's minus 130, but he's probably getting a knockout. But you're like, hey, I might as well just straight up line at minus 130 instead. I get the mentality. Pereira's something that's a good money line attack if you're confident. If you see what I see in Pereira, which is the culmination of really figuring out his MMA game, and right now his aura is unmatched. The Pereira that fought against Jamal Hill was the most terrifying version of himself that we've ever seen in fighting. And I think that Yuri Prochazka, for as good as he is, and he's talking about Pereira not using magic for the fight, very strange. He's a little concerned about that Pereira aura, I think. I feel like he's in trouble. I'm going Alex Pereira to win confidently. I'm not locking main events for the most part, so he's not a lock. But you know what? He is a lock. He's a most confident pick. Poatan, Alex Pereira, minus 130. I see him getting his hand raised, and I see him beating Yuri Prochazka for a second time. Worst case scenario here is him getting grapple fucked, but I don't think it happens. I don't think so. I think we got Poatan Pereira chinning Yuri Prochazka for the second time. I expect him to catch him with a left hook because chaotic shit is what Prochazka likes. And Pereira can thrive in chaos. He's a precision striker. Regardless of how much power he has, he isn't a bomb-swinging, wild shot guy. He's a clean puncher. And he finds the dome, and he puts down Yuri Prochazka. Again, let's talk the most valuable money line before we talk underdogs. So I think Mayra Bueno Silva needs to be talked about. At minus 115, she's a former world title challenger. She had Raquel Pennington's back in multiple instances in that fight, nearly had rear naked chokes there. Her winning by sub is also plus 275. And Macy Chiasson, she does have a good physicality. She's a tall girl at 5'11". She's got like a 6-inch reach advantage and a long height advantage. So I get the worry, but they shouldn't be minus 115 to minus 105. Bueno Silva was upwards of minus 192. Bueno Silva was the favorite for a while. I mean, even seeing it like, a few days ago at minus 160, And now you're looking at near even money, and it may potentially flip. And Bueno Silva in some spots is a plus 100 underdog. That's crazy to me. Bueno Silva's been in there with good comp. Chiasson also almost got submitted by Irene Aldana, did get submitted by Raquel Pennington, and she's a little sloppy with her takedowns, and I can see her getting her neck caught. Bueno Silva's got tricky jiu-jitsu, and I'm not going to write her off in this matchup because of a loss to the very gritty Raquel Pennington, who finished Macy Chiasson. So give me Bueno Silva as a valuable money line, and I think it is live for the submission too at plus 275. We're going with her in this ladies fight. Let's jump to the favorite underdog section. I'll bring them up. We got 4 badass underdogs. We got Vinicius Oliveira, Andrei Arlovski, Michelle Watterson, and Anthony Smith. Let me tell you, they're badass underdogs, but they are a little bit of risky dogs this week. I won't sit and lie to you. Vinicius Oliveira, let's first start with him. Ricky Simone could wrestle fuck him. 100% possible that he's on his back for 3 rounds and loses a decision. But the danger factor is why I chose Oliveira, and specifically him having a size advantage. With the power, the knees up the center, I think Oliveira's a live dog at plus 205. The KO is plus 300. I think that's live as well. But I recognize Simone is a crafty veteran, and this is a crazy second UFC fight for him. Next one, Andrei Arlovski. I just don't want to pick the fattest guy on the roster, Boudet. I think Boudet's sloppy, slow. He's kind of like a heavyweight from the early 2000s, which Andrei Arlovski, is built to deal with those type of styles. I think Arlovski gets a decision. He's plus 200 money line. Decision is plus 240. And I think we're going over 1.5, which is minus 300. I think Pitbull Arlovski, I know he's old at 45, but is Boudet the guy to put him out? I know Arlovski's lost 3 in a row, but the Waldo fight, he still went distance with Where's Waldo, and it was close enough, and Waldo's a good boxer. Boudet is not that good. The Dreshki win was a robbery. He got destroyed by Gaziev. Sure, he beat Jay Collier, but Collier completely sold in that fight at the end, falling to his stomach and giving up his back. So give me Arlovski by decision. I think he can win. He's faster, a little more technical, and I don't see Boudet smother him against the cage with the gut for 3 rounds. Next one, Michelle Watterson for the win over young Jillian Robertson. Why am I picking this? Well, Michelle Watterson historically has pretty good takedown defense, and I don't feel like you can rely on Robertson's resume of beating girls like Polyana Viana as a selling point to her beating a longtime veteran in Watterson. Look at Watterson's losses. Marina Rodriguez, 2 out of her last 4 losses, right? Not bad. Lemos, not a bad loss either. Luana Pinheiro, close split decision. Maybe that one was worse on paper, but she won the 3rd round and fought very well late. I don't think Michelle Watterson is completely washed. She's still going to be quick on the feet. She's still going to have good defense. She can do more damage, and it's not like she's getting taken down often. So Robertson needs this fight on the ground, and she's going to body Michelle. But what if Watterson's stopping takedowns, cutting her up with shots? Watterson can win a decision here at plus 200, and she may even find herself in top position because she's not a bad grappler. Next one, Anthony Lionheart Smith to win, plus 118 on the money line. I mean, I don't really want to touch any props here. I don't even really recommend touching anything here. It's Anthony Smith, but I do think he can beat Dolidze for the simple fact of not how good Smith is, but how Dolidze was utter shit as a UFC light heavyweight. Look at the John Alon fight some years ago. And I know he's done well at 185. He has that big win over Jack Hermanson where he caught him in the damn hamstring calf slicer pseudo mix between the two and then ground and pound finished him. It's a crazy move, and it shows he's got good jiu-jitsu. But Anthony Smith is pretty capable on the ground, and he's solid on the feet as well. And then Dolidze has lost 2 in a row. The Vettori fight could have went his way. The Amavov fight, he got hurt bad early. I just am not sold on Dolidze. I feel like he's a sloppy as hell striker, but his physicality carries him so well at 185 pounds. He's not going to have the physicality advantage against Anthony Smith at 205. I think Anthony Smith's live to win. He might get a decision. He might get a knockout. The prop is just, you're playing with fire with this fight in general. But if you're feeling Anthony Smith, a Degen bet, or maybe a Degen parlay with him on it, I get the mentality. But ultimately, Anthony Smith caught Petrino with a perfect guillotine. Is he going to do it to Dolidze? Probably not. He's going to have to fight him. Could Dolidze catch him? Absolutely. Does he turtle up and get finished? Absolutely. That's not what I want to see, though. I want more of the Anthony Smith delusion, the viral clips. That's what I'm rooting for. So Anthony Smith to win as a dog is my official call. I do want to talk about one singular prop because this prop stood out to me. Ian Garry by decision, plus 185. It's live. We're done with the favorite underdog section. In the Degen Props section, we have so many props I'm already talking about. I had limited options, but I do think Ian Garry wins, and I think he probably gets a decision at plus 185. And I don't think you're crazy for moneylining Ian Garry either, or putting him in a parlay too. He's a pretty confident pick, just not a most confident pick. I didn't want to put him in the big three, and I didn't think he deserved that most valuable money line spot over Bueno Silva, who was such a big favorite, who now has become a close money or even potentially a dog at some spots. But I do think Ian Garry's got a good chance to win. So him winning by decision's worth mentioning. But the money line's really not an awful call either. And I do like the potential of maybe parlaying up some value with an Ian Garry or even an alternate parlay with him. Let's keep running, okay? Let's jump to the section that I think everybody watching has been waiting for. At least it's what I've been waiting for. The parlays. Let's start it off with safe-ish. We have the lock Pfeiffer with a high confidence pick and Alex Pereira at plus 140. This is relatively safe, but it's going to be nerve-wracking because, you know, any main event title fight is going to have you sweating. Joe Pfeiffer should be good to win. Pfeiffer should pull through. Let's look at some more. Saruya, Talbot, and Pfeiffer. I think this is also safe-ish with some chalky favorites. Minus 130. It doesn't bring you plus money, but near even money. Should happen. Saruya, Talbot, Pfeiffer, and Pereira to put all high confidence together is plus 210. I think that's relatively live, and getting it at over 2-1 is pretty badass. Now, if you want to mix in some props, Pereira by KO and Talbot by KO with Pfeiffer and Saruya, you sit at plus 485. I just put an exclamation mark there because I'm excited about the value on it, and the possibility of it hitting is pretty damn live at nearly 5-1. Now, an alternate action is Bueno Silva and Pfeiffer, a value money line in the lock at plus 170. This one actually looks pretty golden, but I understand hesitancies with betting the women. I get it, especially with Chiasson's physicality and size, but she's not as technically good as Bueno Silva. Pfeiffer and Feely at minus 110. Another little alternate. Feely was not in the most confident pick section. I almost pulled the trigger and brought him in, but I don't know. I just worry with Feely sometimes. But in a parlay, it's more playable. And he's a fairly confident call. Now, another one that's interesting is Bueno Silva, Pfeiffer, and Pereira at plus 375. I think there's big money that could potentially be made on that one. I like that three play. Bueno Silva, Pfeiffer, Pereira, Talbot, and Saruya at plus 515. It's valuable and really interesting, as I could see it definitely coming home and getting you a dub at more than 5-1. Now, if you're going for a ballsy prop play, Pereira by KO and Saruya by submission, plus 565. That's ballsy. That's risky. And, bet all the parlays at your own risk. And please, if you're throwing down heat on the pets, you know what I'm saying? You're actually throwing something on it. You're not just, light playing it with a couple bucks. Please do your own research and, back your confidence with what I'm saying instead of just following suit. Be a leader, not a follower. But listen to what I'm saying because I think I got some good points. Now let's jump to the Degen parlays. What do I got? What's some degeneracy tonight? And I actually have a special edition. So if you stuck around, at the end of the Degen parlays, I got the Hat Parlay coming up. I'm picking randomly out of the hat. Every fighter on the card is in that hat. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. Pereira by knockout, Talbot by KO, Pfeiffer, and then Saruya by sub in round one, plus 2,563. My mentality here is I think Saruya could get a submission in the first round against Hernandez because the dude starts lightning fast, and I can see Hernandez getting caught in something. So this one's actually not as crazy as maybe I thought it was. Like talking about it, I think it's possible. Now, Arlovsky by decision, big dog. Garry and Feely plus 900 for a little alternate degeneracy. Michelle Watterson, Bueno Silva. You could actually put those two together for a ladies parlay, but then adding in Pereira and Talbot, you got plus 845 for that one. And then Pereira by knockout, Diego Lopes, Bueno Silva, Ian Garry, and Joe Pfeiffer plus 1685. Honestly, I got confidence that one's going to be a heavy hitter as well. I'm pretty confident with the picks, man. And I think plus 1685 for the likelihood is damn good. Now, if you're looking for absolute degeneracy, this is the biggest of the bunch. It's sitting at plus 11,390. We got a Pereira KO, a Saruya sub, Bueno Silva, Pfeiffer, Ian Garry, Peyton Talbot, and a Michelle Watterson decision. You're a degenerate playing that one. Plus 11,390. Good luck with the Degen parlays if you're playing them. These are definitely something you can throw a couple bucks at, not throwing $100. I mean, if you are, good luck. Good luck. But, it gets pretty damn degenerate with the Degen section. Listen, I got a special edition for this pay-per-view because I feel like the hat was a hit last week. Now, albeit last week, in the hat, I only had my high confidence calls. This week, I have every fighter in the hat. Every fighter on the card, and we're going to do a 2 and a 3-leg hat parlay. So I'm going to mix everything up. I don't know what's going to be picked here. Something just fell out, so I guess we have to go with this one. What fell out? Ian Garry. Ian Garry fell out. So Ian Garry is the first call for the parlay. We're going to make a 2-leg, though. I got to mix it up again because I'm looking at him now. I'm looking away. Okay. What is this one? Brian Ortega? Brian Ortega and Ian Garry is what the hat is telling me. That's crazy, man. What? All right, I got to mix it up some more. This is for a 3-leg, and I just dropped something, so I guess I got to go with this one. Joe Pyfer, the lock. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. So the hat's 3-leg parlay is going to be Garry, Ortega, and Pyfer. I guess technically the first one is the hat lock being Ian Garry. Let's see what we get for odds mixing those 3 together. Let's make it happen. I'm going to get the odds for you all right now on the spot, on the fly. We just came up with that. So Ian Garry, okay, he's around minus 135. You put him in with Joe Pyfer. Where's our boy? Minus 290. I guess technically it was Pyfer and Ortega. It was Ortega and Garry first. So let me go Ortega first. Ortega and Garry is plus 286. Then if you add in Pyfer, you get plus 419. There's the hat parlay. Just something for fun. That's no research on that one because shit, it's going against my pick. I got Diego Lopes, but maybe it's the universe saying it. Let's see if the first ever hat parlay straight out for every fighter on the card, not just my confidence calls, pulls through. Garry, Ortega, and Pyfer. That's the 3-leg. Good luck to anybody playing it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you all smash the like button. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn the post notifications on too. Keep it locked in. Daily content coming. Much love to each and every one of you supporting. Let me know what you thought of all the calls in the comments and drop some of your favorite picks on the card and your lock as well. I want to hear what the people are thinking. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.